What's up, gamers? This is the Russian Reversal here to discuss my Nintendo mini console collection. My first unboxing video of mini consoles was the PlayStation Mini. However, before I started my YouTube channel, I've been collecting mini consoles and start with where most of the mini consoles began with the NES Mini, but I also have the Super NES Mini, the Famicom, and the Special Edition Famicom, which is one of my favorite consoles just from an aesthetics point of view and has my favorite box art. So let's check it out. So starting off with the North American releases, we have the NES Classic Edition. This was super sought after and they had to do a re-release, so this is actually the second release. I wasn't able to get in on the first one. I actually have two of these, but one is going to sit in its box for a while. So it came with one controller, which is why I bought a second controller here. The box, which I still have, included HDMI cable, power cable, and which is all kind of bundled up here because I'm terrible at reboxing things. And we also have the controller as well. Common criticism of the NES Classic, and I can see both sides of this, is the controller was rather short. I think what Nintendo was going with is they're trying to recreate the NES, and so that whole experience of kind of being close to the television, which is something an older generation of gamers is more familiar with. So this is really short. However, with big HD TVs, it's kind of a problem. So I have a wireless controller as well. This works pretty well. It's not pretty close to the original thing. The buttons feel pretty good. You also have the USB on the back and the HDMI, and it comes with a bunch of games. I really like the box for it, which looks pretty cool. So you have Final Fantasies, Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, a ton of really good games. And I think this one kind of set the standard for classic mini consoles, undoubtedly, just because it was so well done. Might not be the favorite one, but I think it really just set a good precedent. So here we have the SNES, or the Super Nintendo. This one is really cool. This one also pretty much set the standard for mini consoles. The buttons here feel really good. I kind of like that click feel that these buttons have on the console itself. And then on the back you have HDMI and micro USB, which is pretty standard. On the front is where you put in your controllers. This is a little bit more controversial for me. I like how it looks this way on the shelf, but then I'm trying to open this is a little on the clunkier side. But it still looks really good, and most of the time it does sit on my shelf because I mostly use my Switch for Super Nintendo gaming, or I have a regular Super Nintendo as well. This also sits on a TV that's pretty close. The controllers, the cool thing about this guy is it came with two controllers. The controller is still a little on the short side, but it comes with two, which is really cool. I really enjoyed that, and just comes with some really good games. I mean, honestly, I think the 16-bit era is probably my favorite from just an art style. So to show you, it comes with Super Mario World, which is one of the all-time great games, as well as Link to the Past, which is a fabulous game, Super Metroid, Final Fantasy III, F-Zero, Donkey Kong Country, Secret of Mana, Mega Man X. These are all just beautiful games, and they're very well done on this console. I could do a full review later, but this is part of my collection, and let's switch over to the Japanese Famicoms that I have. So here we have the family computer, or as it's commonly known, the Famicom. This is the Japanese version of the NES, and the design is pretty different from the North American release. So this is a standard thing in a lot of Japanese households. One thing that I noticed about this guy compared to my other Famicom, which I'll show you here shortly, is when you put the controllers in, they kind of sit upside down, which is really interesting. The buttons Again, I love that solid click feel. Has very similar games with a couple of exceptions to the North American version of the NES. So I think the big one that I noticed is Pac-Man. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it just looks really good. I kind of like the minimalist packaging compared to the NES version. So I think this looks a little bit more sleek, but I also think this kind of does really capture the time period of the NES. It's kind of got like a maybe more of a 90s feel, and this has more of a classic, clean, modern kind of feel from the box standpoint. The other thing to note is the controllers comes with both controllers, and they're attached to the back, where you also see your micro USB and your HDMI. So it comes with the cables. I actually have them plugged into a TV at the moment, but this is really cool. So the cabling is really short though, so you definitely want this paired on a smaller TV, just because the controller cables are so short, and there's no wireless option like there is for the NES. So be aware of that. This is more of a common thing, probably in Japanese households. They're just smaller households. So be aware of that, but this is also a great collector's piece. I love having this sit on my TV stand. And lastly, I also have a second Famicom Mini. This one is just gorgeous. I love the box art. Instead of jumping into the console, I'm just going to talk about the box art because I just love this. It's just got that classic shonen Japanese, manga magazine look. I love how this looks. This is just the coolest. I actually have this box on display in my game room just because I love this box so much. I'm also a big Dragon Ball Z fan, so definitely has some interesting games. More of the action and RPG style. It also has the original Dragon Quest, which is a fabulous game. The one challenge I run into is I took a year of Japanese at college. I was a terrible student, and these are all RPGs, so they're very text-heavy games. So if you don't understand Japanese, and to be quite frank with you, I don't have a very good grasp of Japanese, this is a challenge for non-Japanese speakers to play. But it's just such a fabulous showpiece. So it's compared to this one, so it's white, and the original Famicom is white. The special edition Shonen 50th anniversary is gold. So they just look really good together. And as I pointed out earlier, when they sits, the cable goes out the back, but it sits upside down on the Famicom Mini. On this one, it sits upright, which is kind of cool. I played this a little bit. I'm struggling because they're such text-heavy games. But this is just such a cool collector's piece, and probably one of my favorites in my overall gaming collection. And yeah, I love this box art. I can't get enough of it. It comes with two controllers, so basically from a functional standpoint, it's identical, but the games are quite a bit different between the two. The Famicom has more of your classic Nintendo games. This one is exclusively Shonen Manga. So that's the big difference, is the number of games. Now, if you are a Japanese speaker or just love collecting or am willing to figure out some of these games, this is a great piece to have. I absolutely love it. Probably my favorite mini console from just a pure aesthetic standpoint. But from a gameplay standpoint, as far as playing it, not the one I play the most. I probably play, of these, the Super Nintendo and the NES more, just because of my limited grasp of the Japanese language. So there you have it. Those are my 4 mini Nintendo consoles that are a part of my mini console collection. Give me a comment. Tell me which one is your favorite. I'd love to hear what you think. If you made it this far, please give a like and subscribe, and check out some of my other videos and my playlists all around me here. And I'll see you next Wednesday. I'll have a video every Wednesday. Take care.